Have you ever wondered why MOS is important and if Riomax uses it in our formulas? Well, today we're going to discuss the impacts MOS can have on the digestive system and the health of your herd. MOS is in Riomax formulas, however, Riomax is using many more components other than just MOS itself. Hi, I'm Ashley Kettner with Riomax, and I've been working with ranchers across North America for numerous years now. My husband and I are actually the 6th generation to take over the family ranch too. So today, let's talk about MOS. Mannan oligosaccharides is what MOS stands for, and it's typically added to products for calving season to help reduce sickness, but then it's generally removed to save a buck or two. Now, the main purpose behind adding MOS to the product is to help build the integrity of the gut and to reduce bacteria within the gut. Now, to give you an example, if you picture an apple, and an apple would represent a yeast cell. Now, MOS is going to be the skin of that apple, or in other words, the outer cell wall of the yeast. There are many different MOS products out there that you might be familiar with. Advana MOS would be one, BG MOS, and there's even BioMOS. However, Rioimmune yeast is what Riomax is using, and it does contain MOS, but there's far more to it than that. It's a multi-component yeast. So when we look back at that apple, representing that cell, that yeast cell, instead of MOS just being the outer cell wall of the yeast, or in this example, it's the skin, Rioimmune yeast is going to be the entire apple. The skin, the meat, the core, the seeds, the stem, everything. So in other words, it's the entire yeast cell. Now, MOS is very beneficial in the fact that it's gonna help tie up bacteria and get them out of there. But the difference of what Riomax is doing with the Rioimmune yeast is it's cutting a far larger swath, so to speak, because it's helping to tie up bacteria such as E. coli, salmonella, and other similar bacteria, get them out of there. But then it's actually gonna help to reduce parasite attachments to the gut wall and help get rid of them, such as like your coccidia. Now, one thing that's kind of a fun fact is that E. coli is actually the leading cause to bacterial scours. So when we can help get rid of that, get that out of there and get them out faster, that's only gonna help with production of the herd. When we're looking at all these different components working together, it's gonna have a direct impact with milk production, feed conversions, gaining, and that is only gonna have a positive impact on the performance of our herd. Now, one other cool fact that I want to share with you is that when we introduce Rioimmune yeast, we can see it actually starting to work within 30 seconds of being exposed to bacteria. So the faster we get Rioimmune yeast into the cow or the calf, the faster we're going to start seeing a response and it can actually get to work. Rioimmune yeast is part of Nutrisorb, and that's in every single Riomax formula, no matter what time of year. Because as we talked about earlier, the things that MOS and what Rioimmune yeast can help with are different concerns that happen all through the year, not just during calving season. So it's so critical to make sure that we're ahead of the game with that animal to help prevent some of these things from happening so that they can have the optimal performance. To learn more or to see visually how Rioimmune yeast is tying up with bacteria and getting it out of there, I'm gonna put a link to a video below so that you can see firsthand. But I'd also encourage you to go to the Riomax science page so that you can see more about Nutrisorb and how it's synergistically as a package working with Rioimmune yeast to amplify and get the most out of your results. And then if you have any further questions from there, don't hesitate to give us a call.